Hello everybody. Welcome to a live video chat about the power of prayer and especially how it applies to us as moms, no matter how old your children are or what season of motherhood you are in, because we talk about the season of motherhood, but really there's multiple sub-seasons for all of us moms. So join me, come on in, grab your coffee or your tea or your water. Author Ginger Harrington, who I had the amazing opportunity to meet, oh my goodness, it must be about 5 years ago now, will be joining me live. She has just written a book that is perfect for this topic. So I'm going to add her to the video here when I see her live. Hey Kendra! My name is Jaimi Erickson. For those that do not know me, I am the admin of this group, Stay at Home Moms Share Together. It is a spin-off group from my blog, The Stay at Home Mom Survival Guide. Just a private group where we can connect and share in a little bit more intimate way than on the blog page. I have been a stay-at-home mom now for over 10 years. My oldest is 10. He just turned 10 April 17th. So it's amazing how fast 10 years goes. For those of you in the thick of stages, baby stages, where you just have no idea if you're going to make it through, I am living proof that you will make it through. It's crazy how fast. So I know it's kind of annoying sometimes when people say, oh, enjoy it all. You're not going to enjoy every moment, but it will be all worth it, those moments that you get with your kids every day. And my kids are still home. We homeschool full time now. So I have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and twin 4-year-olds. I actually met Ginger, just to tell a little bit while we wait for her to join us here. As soon as she pops up. And Ginger, when you start watching, leave just comment that you're here, and I think it will allow me to a little more easily add you on. There's always a little bit of glitchiness in these live videos, so just bear with us. But I met Ginger, like I said, about 5 years ago. She actually was a speaker at my MOPS meeting in Stafford, Virginia. And so I was just pregnant with my twins at that point. It was our last year of living in Virginia before we moved to California. So it was just, an amazing opportunity to get to know Ginger, and she was just beginning to create a blog then, and now she is a published author. So I'm thrilled to have her joining me here in a few minutes, and we're going to talk about the power of prayer and how, in particular, she talks about that topic in her book. I have a little housefly friend flying around me, so if you see, little dark black dot flying around, the flies are kind of bad where we live here in the desert right now. So Ginger has a blog. Oh, there she is, gingerharrington.com. Let me try and invite Ginger on camera here. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Oh, I'm so excited to be doing this.
I'm always delighted when the technology works because I have so many that don't work.
Yes.
And, sometimes it can be really hard to find the broadcast, whether you're looking for one or you're trying to join one. Facebook Live is an interesting thing.
Yes. Oh, well, when we can get it to work, it's really great. It's so fun to be able to chat together here. So Ginger, I've already introduced myself and started to introduce a little bit about the topic that we're going to talk about today. But why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and just tell us a little bit about you and your family?
Sure. Well, I live in Northern Virginia, And I met Jaimi when she lived in this area, met at a mom group where I was speaking.
Yeah.
And love to do speaking for groups and events. I blog at gingerharrington.com, and I just released my first book in March, Holy in the Moment.
That's so exciting.
Simple Ways to Love God and Enjoy Your Life. And Jaimi was part of my launch team. So I really appreciate her help and support in that. And getting a chance to hang out with you guys on Facebook Live today is part of that. So I'm delighted. I've got 3 kids. My oldest is 25, and y'all get this, he is actually graduating from grad school in about 2 weeks. And, you know, I just remember when my kids were babies, and I could just not even fathom the time when they might graduate from high school, college, or grad school, i.e. I'm getting kind of old here. And my middle daughter is, she is going to be 23 soon. And she has been home with us for a couple of months after 2.5 years as a missionary in Australia with YWAM, Youth with the Mission. And she's had an amazing experience and getting regrouped, and she's going to go back to school in the fall. And then our youngest is a sophomore, and she's a nursing student. And, you know, every day feels like a make or break moment in an intense curriculum like that. So she's looking forward to the end of the year. We've been married 27 years. And in addition to my personal writing and ministry and speaking, I also work with an organization for military women associated in the military community called Planting Roots. And we've got online blogs and Bible studies, and we do events for military women by military women. And that being wives, moms, active daughters, the whole.
Yes. Oh, awesome.
In a little blurb.
Oh, that is so great. So when I first met you at MOPS in Stafford, Virginia, you had, I think, had you just started your a blog, or were you just in the process of starting it at that point?
I started my blog in 2009, but I started to get serious about it when we moved back to the States. We lived in Japan for 4 years, and we moved back to the States in 2011. And when, you know, the kids were growing up, and my husband was like, "Hey, babe, what you want to do when you grow up?" I was like, "I want to write and speak professionally." And my amazing husband was really supportive and said, "Well, that is great. I think you can do it, but don't play around. Really get serious and knuckle down, work on it." And so I kind of transitioned from playing ministry and just kind of doing it whenever I wanted to, and blogging whenever I wanted to treating ministry and blogging and writing and all that development as a full-time job. So that was go back to work without a paycheck kind of thing happening for me, which in some respects is a little hard, but it's had some great moments.
Awesome. Like we had said, you spoke to my the MOPS group that I was a part of in Stafford, and I still to this day remember and quote you often when you said, and I don't know if it's a quote of yours or if it is to be credited somewhere else, but I always give you the credit. But it says, as moms, we need to be thermostats, not thermometers. It was something you said in that talk that day. It's the first time that I had heard that analogy, you know, and especially when the behaviors of our children start to heat up around us as moms, the practice of prayer, or that choice to be holy in the moment, like the name of your book, is really a strategy and an action that helps us refocus on what matters in those moments. So how have you found that prayer, you know, especially considering moms and moms that are at home with their kids all day here in this group, how does that sort of help us choose to be holy in the moment?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to think about what is your concept of prayer. If you think of prayer as only taking place in a quiet moment, or by yourself, or at church, or having your, you know, quote unquote quiet time, as moms, so oftentimes those quiet moments are extremely hard to find. And then as soon as you get one, the first thing you do is fall asleep. Hey, I've been there. I know. It was a while back now, but I remember. And so you have to reframe your concept of prayer from it is some sort of formal, specific activity to it's more in line with your relationship with God. And it's just kind of being mindful and present and just a continual conversation off and on throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And so for me, one of the things that really helped me with that there was two resources that helped me with that. And one was this little short book, love short books, by Brother Lawrence, a monk from, eons ago, called Practicing the Presence of God. And he drove home for me this simple concept of being with God in the moment, whether you're peeling potatoes, because he was a kitchen monk, he was the cooking monk. And, whether you're working in the garden, doing physical work, or whether or not you're in worship or just in the daily life of your day. And that, is kind of one of those foundations that later became my book. But the concept of just talking with God throughout the day really reframes our concept of prayer. And the other thing super helpful for me is something that Rick Warren said in A Purpose-Driven Life. And he talked about keeping a continual conversation with God. Yeah. So, sometimes that for me, that might be out loud, because I like to talk to myself. And so why not talk to God when I'm talking to myself at the same time, But for the most part, that's an internal conversation that is as close as our thoughts. And so those are some concepts. And so being able to pray in the moment, just to send up that little quick, oh, help, Lord, Lord, give me wisdom. And sometimes I don't even address it as Lord. It's just a thought, but he knows that we're talking to him, right. He knows that we're seeking his help. And so sometimes I'm like, Lord, what's really important here? Help me to zip my lip.
Yeah. I need that one.
Yeah,
I need that one all the time.
I have a friend and she calls it praying for the hush anointing. Lord, I need some hush anointing. Zip my lip. Because, we want to give an earful to a little, one of these kids that might be just yanking on our last nerve. And so just being able to stop in the moment and say, help, Lord, is so great. And so prayer really does become this practical thing. But for me, as I reframe that from a formal concept into just a casual and continuing conversation, just in my thoughts with the Lord, it really helps me be mindful and present and choose to pray.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I struggled with that. That's not the right word, but that whole idea of I need to set aside this block of time in my day to have my prayer time, my devotional time, my time where I'm focused on the Bible was a big challenge for me to work in through the last 10 years, really, with not so much with my oldest, but after, adding additional kids and, of course, depending on behaviors of even, no matter what age your children are, and your daily schedule can feel like it's just jam-packed. So I would always think, oh, I'm not doing this. I'm not setting aside this time, exactly 1 hour to sit and read and pray. But strangely enough, as God likes to work, after my twins were born, he put me in a situation where I had no choice but to pray throughout the day. And so it's amazing how you learn those lessons really from him, just following this path of your life to say, you can pray in moments. It does not have to necessarily be a scheduled time, and really better that it isn't just only a scheduled time, right? I mean, that constant conversation is really where we want to be.
Absolutely. And you're right, that scheduled time is super important, because God uses that time to grow us. We will never word if we don't take time to read his word. And it's got to go more than just reading. Like, information in for me goes straight back out. And so I've got to reflect. I like to journal. I like to sometimes write the verse out nice and big and, make some doodlies things. I'm not big, real artistic on it, but, sometimes I like to just really make it stand out on the page. Sometimes I just, write my thoughts. Sometimes there's a lot of online things that are super quick to look up. And so I like Blue Letter Bible to just, quickly find, if I've got my laptop or my phone, quickly find a definition, unlocks the passage for me. And that takes time. But our spiritual growth, is impacted by that time, but our prayer life is not relegated to that time.
Right. Oh, yes.
So kind of one of the things that I've said for years, and it is in Holy in the Moment, but it's also in pretty much everything else that I've written that's not published yet, but, Lord willing, one day will be, is that we need to fight for consistency because it's important. It really is important. Fight for consistency, but walk in grace because days get away from us. Kids are uncooperative. We're tired. And, God knows your schedule better than you do. And so like when my kids were littles, one of the things that really helped me was to ask him to show me where in my day I could find some focus.
Yes.
And, everybody was like touting first thing in the morning, quiet time. Well, if I've got kids that aren't sleeping through the night, it's really hard to get up before they do. Yeah. They get up really early.
Yes.
And so that when my kids were little, it just didn't work for me consistently. But for years and years and years, almost every day, somebody took a nap. And so for me, that sacred ground was nap time. And then when I was breastfeeding, it was, you're holding a baby and you got a Bible in the other, listening to, so just using those moments that I did have and just walking in grace with it really, really does help. And when you learn those concepts, you can take them with you into the moment. And so it's some of both. It's both and not either or.
Yeah. So Carmi is watching all the way from South Africa. That's so cool. Welcome.
I don't know. South Africa.
Kendra, who is a personal friend of mine, we lived in San Diego area together. She's asking, is Holy in the Moment available in audiobook format?
It is not yet. Okay. I would love for that to be, but that's something that the publishers decide. And thus far, we've not done that, but I'm hoping that the book will sell well. So you buy the book, give it to moms for Mother's Day, right? And do it in your Bible studies and your book clubs and things like that. And then, the sales will be really strong. And hopefully we can do audio. Hopefully we do a Bible study. I would love to do a journal. This book really lends itself to interaction and exploration.
It really does. And it is, you can get it, just download it to your phone and read it that way too, Kendra. So that's how I read it. After everybody goes to bed, I finally found that my chunk of time is after everybody goes to bed, either by myself downstairs or just sitting in bed with my husband asleep next to me. That's my reading time, my devotional time. And it feels good to finally be in that space of having that time every day. It's awesome. So Holy in the Moment, to get back to the book, is filled with reminders that are perfect for moms about those moments where we want to run, hide, yell, confront. You share multiple testimonies from your own life when you needed to pray in the moment to regain balance, so to speak. So how did you utilize prayer when your children were young?
So many ways. In fact, one of the things that I would often do is, like we were talking about our quiet time. And when my kids were little, a lot of my quiet times revolved around seeking wisdom and strength as a mom. And they were the content of a lot of those. And so a lot of times what I would do is, write prayers down. Lord would give me verses and I put that verse on the wall and just to remind myself. For years, I had verses on the stuck to the refrigerator or stuck to my bathroom mirror. Or another favorite place that I loved was little something on the window where I was washing dishes. And that, meditate, pray that verse for the child. And then what I would do sometimes is pull out verses and I put them, those little pocket scrapbooks, photo albums that you can just slide in. And I put it on an index card, and then after, I was done with it on the wall or whatever, I just slid it into that little photo album and put what the prayer for that child was. For birthdays or, Christmas, I'd give them a little gift that was a prayer. I'd put it in there. And then I kept that by my bed for years. And sometimes at night, I'd just pray through that. And it would remind me of the things that I had prayed for my kids as babies, like those confidential, prophetic things that you pray over, that you could pray over your children. For our son, his name was Caleb. And so, we prayed that the Lord would give him a different spirit to follow the Lord fully. And so it was good to have that reminder that, hey, this is something we've been praying for him before he was born. And so that's just, just a little simple, tangible. And then sometimes I would do, particularly when things are like going crazy and you've got a child that's really struggling over something, really roadblocked on something, or, those seasons where everybody's in a bad season. And, those are times that call for battle prayer. And so there were times where, I would just do battle prayer, and I'm kind of ranting in my prayer, their beds, really putting on the armor of God, really holding up a shield of faith over my children, claiming truth, claiming the promises of God, and really, ousting the enemy from the impact that he might have been having on their lives, truths that they might have been believing or behaviors that they were struggling with, particularly things like rebelliousness and insubordination and dishonesty. Yeah, my kids did those things too, right? And but there's times in every parent's life, every child's life and every parent's lives where we really have to get down in the nitty gritty of battle prayer and really ask the Lord to move some mountains, because some strong-willed child is like trying to move a mountain, and God's the only one that can do that. Right. And so our best effort is spent seeking God to do those things that we can, and to give us the wisdom to do the things that we can.
Right. Yes. Oh, yeah. When my kids were really teeny tiny, and they're still smaller than me for about another year. I'm sure within the next year, my oldest will be taller than me. He's getting close. But when they were little, finding the moments to read devotionals and pray with intention and not just for survival felt hard to find, and even harder to find consistently. I like the advice that you shared already for moms that can't really find the right schedule yet. There's just that season of time when kids are still waking up at night a lot, or you're potty training and you have to wake your child up at night a lot, and you're just exhausted and can't quite find that time to sit and focus regularly on quiet time. So I like those ideas, just the writing the verses down, posting them up on the fridge or a window. And were you saying that you had one of those pocket albums for each child?
No, that's too complicated.
Okay, so just one
thing.
Got it.
Yeah, and I'm looking over here. I've got a bookshelf over here. It may be down here. If I see it, I'll take a picture and send it to you and post it on your page.
Yeah, sounds good. Awesome. So how did the idea for Holy in the Moment come about?
I think in 2013, I was struggling with a little, starting the year out feeling restless, a little discouraged, and probably, fairly depressed, just kind of like, we're getting ready to retire from the Marine Corps. I've been working this writing life. Nothing's happening. We might be moving. I'm sick of moving, And so I just, the Lord just put it in my mind through my quiet times. This trend started to come up of just choosing one thing each day. And so the original title for Holy in the Moment was One Simple Thing. And what is one simple thing that I can choose today that will keep me focused on you and choose Holy in the Moment. And then as we began to shape with my literary agent, as we began to shape this idea into a book concept, we realized simplicity has been pretty saturated as an idea. But holiness at the time, there were very few books by women on holiness, let alone something that was grounded in everyday experience and wasn't this lofty theological book. And there's theology in my book, but it's grounded in our everyday moments and practical choices. So it's really it's about abiding in Christ, how to abide in Christ moment by moment, whatever the moment may be.
So what do you most hope that moms in particular take away from Holy in the Moment?
Freedom from fear. Freedom from fear. The thread that went through my parenting was this supermom syndrome. And I didn't realize it at the time because all I could see was the things that I wasn't doing well. And I thought, well, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not a supermom because I can't keep my house clean. And you know, I forgot the early dismissal last week. And yeah, I did that. You know, all I could see was what I was doing wrong and just completely overlooking all the things that I was doing right. But so this supermom, the pressure to avoid the mistakes that my parents had made, or the things that I perceived as my parents had made. And, you know, grace. But, you know, I just remember that, you know, as kids, we gave my mom a hard time. And we're very critical at times of her good intentions. And so my takeaway from that was to be afraid to do anything that was going to upset anybody, because then maybe my kids wouldn't like me or accept me, and, you know, that I would like work them, you know, if I cross too strong, or, you know, discipline to, you know, so I was always trying to seek that middle ground. And the middle ground sometimes is a really stressful place to live if you're motivated by fear of rejection and fear of failure. And it really can bind you up relationally, whether it's your kids or your husband or your friend next door. And really in the moment, not necessarily my book, but the concept is about freedom that comes when we trust God in the moment, and that frees us from the fears that drive us and the misperceptions that we have, the lies that we've believed, and this for mom, this iron grip of I've got to get it right or my kids aren't going to be okay. That's an incredible amount of pressure that we put on ourselves as moms. And so for every mom, any mom that's reading Holy in the Moment, freedom from fear and insecurity as a parent, and just really upping your trust factor in God's practical way is what I hope they get out of the book.
Yes. Well, it definitely, it does that. It's, you know, just very, very appropriate for moms. Even if you can't get big windows of time to read through the whole thing in one night, I definitely encourage you to read through it, because it's just great for practical application to your life right now, no matter what stage of life you're in, really. So what projects are you working on right now?
Marketing. Yeah, you know, as a first-time author, and my blog, I mean, my blog is not super big or anything like that. I've been at it for a long time, but there's a billion blogs on the planet, and it's, you know, it's hard to make a splash in a big world. And so as a new author, my primary efforts right now are in promoting the concept of the book, and I feel terrific about that, because I am catching glimpses of how God is using this book to change people's lives and to free them up and to relieve them from anxiety. I had no idea when I was writing this book that I was actually writing a book about freedom from anxiety, perfectionism, and insecurity. You know, we don't think about those things in relationship to holiness, but holiness is all about getting free from those things. And so that's a lot of what I've been doing. I'm hoping that the book will do well enough that I can do a Bible study, or this. I would love to do some sort of really creative, interactive journal. And then eventually I would like to do something that currently is called the Quiet Time Guide. And it is kind of taking this concept of choose one thing and applying it to your quiet time and actually walking people through books of the Bible. And, just try this one thing as you read this today. And super simple. Because that's how we grow, Yeah. We got to quit making everything so complicated.
Yes. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, for anyone who viewed live or watches the replay, once this posts to the group wall, feel free to leave any questions. We will get notifications of those and can come back and respond. Where can people get the book? I know it's available on Amazon and Goodreads, right?
Well, I don't think Goodreads is actually a bookseller, but it is available on Amazon, CBD, Christian Books,
right.
Lifeway. I saw it on Walmart. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm on Walmart. That one actually made me laugh. And Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. I've been in 3 bookstores and only seen 1 copy in 1 bookstore. So if you have a bookstore in your town, request them to carry the book. That would be awesome sauce. And for those that read the book, if you enjoy the book, please leave a review on Amazon or whatever bookseller you bought it from, because the reviews are what makes the book more searchable. And people don't know who I am, but if they are typing in a topic related to the book and it's got a lot of reviews, that book's going to pop up when they're looking on Amazon or when they're looking on Google. And like I said before, this is a fabulous book for a small group Bible study or a Christian book club, or hey, be a renegade. Do this book in a non-Christian book club and see what happens.
There you go.
That'd be interesting. I mean, so much in this book that people can relate to, even if they aren't, even if they're a pre-believer. Very true. Well, I mean, we all can relate to real life, and that, you boil in the book, that's what it boils down to, is real life situations and keep it real, keep it holy.
Yes. Well, I'm going to put a link to the book in the comments here for anybody who views and just wants to be able to directly click and read more about it. Ginger, thank you so much. This was so fun. I'm glad that it worked out for us to do this.
Yes. And I'll just, not that I want to nab any of your awesome participants in your group, but we're also doing a Holy in the Moment Facebook group, which is where I am rolling out content that's geared towards specific chapters. My graphics are going there first. I'm doing a weekly book chat on Tuesday nights at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time on my Facebook page, Ginger Harrington. Okay. So those are all ways you can interact with the book, and in a way that helps you process. So easy to read and brain dump. Read, brain dump. Read, brain dump. You have to engage with material for it to sink in, long enough to start to come back out in our feelings and decisions. And that's what this book is really about. So you guys follow me on my Facebook page, Ginger Harrington. You can catch me on my blog, gingerharrington.com, and on the Holy in the Moment community group.
Awesome. And go get the book.
Yeah, go get the book. And brand.
Yes.
The funny thing, I always dreaded. Oh,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I always dreaded the concept of marketing a book. Of promoting the book, because it felt salesy and self-promotion-y. But then when I got a chance to read the book, like in the book form the first time, and really I read it straight through rather than just writing chapter to chapter, and I got tips of what God had done, and I just literally was like, I didn't write that. And seeing what's in there. Yes. I am so delighted to share the message of this book because it's powerful and it's practical. And so I don't feel salesy. I don't feel self-promoting, because it's not about me, and I'm not taking credit for writing this book.
Yes, it's a wonderful one. Good one for moms too. Really good for everyone, but definitely very applicable to our lives for sure. Ginger, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much, Jaimi. This has been delightful. Love to come back and chat with you guys anytime.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Have a good day.
Y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.